Bingi, Okavanga, Rasdada, Yaga, Chuck Fender, the living fire represent to the fullest. See? Perfect balance. You don't know. The house of consciousness.
Right. So
And the tone, well, the main debate is between Pan-Africanism and Hebrew Israelite, Hebrew Israelite.
yeah.
Yo, bro, my youth.
That's the
them man,
number one. And then the number two now come on the list now is between the pretending and them, those who pretending to be Native
Panthers.
American,
Thanos.
indigenous. And let me give you the rundown. They say they are indigenous, native, aboriginal, American, born out of the soil of America from the bank of the Mississippi. So, and then kind of start there. Come up. Recently, in the last 2-3 years, where I was spearheaded by this gentleman named Dane Calloway. He's the main architect of the whole falsehood. You know?
Yeah.
And he put out some nice video, you know, with good narrative and play into the self-hate, play into the naivety of the people, them, play upon the ignorance of the people, them. You know, see, and weave a narrative to make them feel say they're not African. To elevate
Right.
them now, put Africa below them. You know, see,
But
I mean,
brother
feel
Lani,
special. Yes, kid.
them feel say, just by flipping that switch, just by flipping the
Yes.
switch of
Yes.
not being African, I gonna make them
Yes.
somebody better, But
Ah,
they know say,
Why-
like them
yes.
situation nah go change. Like your situation, nah go change.
Yeah,
Just by flipping that
exactly.
switch and switching from being African to being something else that you make up,
That can,
Yeah, and
and
nah go
that-
change.
yeah,
Because guess
and-
what?
Yeah.
The power structure still see you as African and know say you're African. So you can stand there and talk a
But
whole nation
guess
about
what?
this and that.
All the evidence confirm that they are African. I mean, everything. There's no, the only thing that this is they're using is their psychology. They play psychological games to talk themselves out of being African, but on the biological, cultural, physical level, the objective level, they are confirmed to be African. And some of them between 70% and even 90% of their DNA is Africans.
African.
What's
Yeah,
the
man,
word?
Brady.
What's
Brady.
the
Them nah
reason
need
that-
you.
Brady. You see,
Yes,
it's the one we realize with this thing, right?
yes, King.
Is that people, right, always a try to find an easy way out. See?
That's correct.
Alan
Yes.
just sing a song saying, I hope a guy no vex. There's no easy way about this, Seeing? You see, the item have realized that as African people, right, we have a lot to be proud of, We have a lot to be proud of. But because we're not aware of our history and what we read, like in a agriculture, they would call it the root stock. We're not aware of our root stock. So that's why we really accept this hatred what them put in our brain to look on Africa and African and anything African as negative. So we accept that wholeheartedly. So we try to find every means of disassociating ourselves from that, because we are trying to find the positive in ourselves, right?
Yeah,
But the real positive in ourselves exists in finding our root stock.
That
And
is
this the real
detrimental in
positive there.
itself.
because all the
But that's part of the programming, though. That's part of the
Yes,
program
yeah.
where you lose your identity, right? So
Yes.
so we are in a stage
Search.
where we have lost our identity. So since we have
Yes.
lost our identity, we are the ship without the rudder. That's who we
That's
become.
correct.
Now
Yeah,
we
and
must figure out.
according to the honorable.
Yeah.
Yes,
Now
and
we
that's
must
why
According
we
to the honorable Marcus Garvey, man. It's like
how
a
to
ship
do
without
it.
a rudder,
Yes,
man.
Yes, I. We
and
must
that's
figure
why
out
we
how
are
to do it.
susceptible. Yes.
Yeah.
And that
We-
what affect them, all them look on, is 500 years,
Yes.
All them
Yes.
look on
Yeah.
is that 500 years.
Yeah,
And
Yes.
yeah.
They
That's
view
it.
the 500 years as the history,
Yes.
and
Yes.
don't know say and realize that is an interruption of their history,
Yes, sir.
because
Yes,
Black
sir.
history it was long before that and will be
Thousands of
long
years.
after. And I mean,
Well,
so
a
A lot of
500
people are
years.
not aware of that. A lot of people are not
Yes,
aware of
sir.
that because they don't
Mhm.
try to find that information, and when they hear that information, they dismiss it and ignore it.
All
but you
right,
see,
you know, say one night time, man, a bridging that all a reasoning, right? I'm gonna show the bridging say, you know, say, me not even like to refer to us as black people, right?
Sure.
Cause, man, I said to the king, brother, when we identify ourselves as black, you know, right? It means that we don't identify ourselves as a nation, you know, we just identify ourselves as a color, first of all, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't identify ourselves as a nation, we identify ourselves as a color. See? Second of all, black as in a representation of a people is a new concept to the world, you know. Like I really since slavery and after them start to refer to the people as black, you know.
Black, yeah, man.
Yes, the man I deal it. So if we go accept now and say we are black, that means to say there's so much about our history.
you,
How we
you, you
develop.
see,
Okay,
if,
I
me,
said,
if I,
Yeah, no, no.
access to.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
give it
if,
up.
if,
Yeah.
if I may add to that
Mhm.
perspective,
Yeah.
on black, you see, black became a response to white, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah.
a response to whiteness.
Mm-hmm.
And the white supremacy created the backlash of black supremacy, black liberation in that sense. But black for us is only political.
Sorry.
It cannot be an identity or
Yes.
technological, but identity is a
Origin, yeah.
political.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right,
It's not
right.
because there's no black land, there's no black country, there's no, you know what I mean? And our skin
Yeah.
is not really black if you look on it
Naturally.
in
Yeah.
technical
Right.
sense.
Naturally.
So black is a political ideology.
Right.
To know that we have to demolish whiteness, white supremacy have to fall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, see, and we as a part of the Black Power movement
Mm-hmm.
express that. But some people take it to a further. We try to make
Them
it
did
like
it
say,
on an ethnic level.
and then what the ruling class have done is racialize us as black. So we have to be careful of being minoritized and racialized as black, which we are now say we are African because African connect us to a land. You know,
Naturally.
see, and we
Yeah.
can
Naturally.
start from there and build from that. You know, see, we have
Naturally.
many cultures and many peoples in Africa,
Ethnicities.
Very
Naturally.
diverse.
Yeah, man.
ethnicity and diversity, and
Ethnicity,
we
yes,
as
sir.
and we as diaspora and African are the quintessential African because we are a combination of many African DNA and genetics in our
We
blood.
can a rich gene pool.
Yes, we carry that pool. That's
We
correct, my
can a
brother.
rich gene pool.
So we can link and we can create a bond between many African nations. You know, see, by our very existence. But that was an outgrow of our experience in the last 500 years.
Yes, sir.
Because
Yes,
we
sir.
was interbred and bred on the plantation them around. Well, so I'm beginning to think now these are concentration camp around the world. Because I think sometimes concentration plantation picking up the concentration camp.
Yes, sir. Real talk.
Because there was forced
Real
labor
talk. Real
concentration
talk.
camp.
Real
Yeah,
talk.
so
Yeah,
sometimes
man.
we have to check the levels how them come with we, you know what I'm saying?
Call a spade a spade.
It's a good way to
Yes,
look
yes,
at it.
God.
Yeah, man. Call
Yeah,
a spade a spade, man.
And you see them call them they call them the castle them down in a them place the castle. We say they are dungeons. Them not taking up castle.
Bow
We have
Castle, yeah.
people- Yeah, dungeon them there.
Yeah,
So
man. Don't join
sometimes
them, man.
sometime our we have to just
Castle
manifest
Building.
And
the real thing.
slaughterhouses.
Slaughterhouses, not telling you. Yeah, it was death
prisons.
camps. Yeah, man. Yes,
man.
man.
A
That's-
real life.
Yeah,
man.
we
Yeah,
got-
man.
we-
Real
Come try
talk,
pretty
man.
up a thing. Come try to pretty up a thing. Make it
Pretty
look
up
like
a
like
thing.
it wasn't so bad. It wasn't so bad. It was a castle.
On the plantations,
That's
you
right.
know,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
have
we have
lovely
going
orchards.
corns. We go to corns and crops. You know?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah,
plantation.
A really concentration camp for
concentration
sure.
camp. They are forced
Yeah,
labor
man.
concentration camp and
Yeah,
stuff.
man. A real
So,
thing,
Yeah,
man.
man. Real talk, man.
A real
yeah,
thing,
man.
man.
So,
Yeah,
I
man.
must
Real
say, of
talk.
course, I look funny. I
real talk, man.
A real thing,
A
man.
real talk, man.
and you know, King, a lot of this what we see going on right now with the mind. I mean, you know, so everybody on this panel know, that it's because of this process in the last 500 years of dehumanizing our people
Yes,
and
sir. Yes,
keeping us away from our history and who we
Mhm.
are. To create this void now. Now that we're able to articulate ourselves we're trying to search for some references.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, I think Yaga did say the education. And they say, our leadership never come around to this understanding we are coming with it, you know. Ah, no,
Fire.
they never come around.
Brother Delane,
Yes,
not
King.
even here.
look on a place like
Yeah.
Jamaica, right?
Yeah,
Most of the
example.
leaders, you know, in a Jamaica, you know.
Yes.
In a those time, them say you have what? First class and second class and then thing.
Yeah.
Them never have primary, secondary, them have first class, second class. A lot of those original leaders in a Jamaica never
Yes.
have no real kind of education in my life.
No, actually, where they came from, they came out of the missionaries and the seminaries. You know,
Right.
see,
Yeah, man.
they are the one who
The
cultivated those
colonizers.
leaders. Yes, and they
Yeah.
came out with most of them was Baptists.
And because them are descendants from a slave master, they were seen
Yes.
as better, so them can teach the masses because they are better than, you know what I mean?
And,
Who
and
them a teach.
especially when them teach them the biblical stuff. And
Yes,
most of
sir.
them were preachers and pastors, and they were very charismatic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Like,
Africa
so it's
was
all,
not under,
it's
but
all in the
Africa was not
design,
under
right?
yeah.
It's all in the design, right, Brother Delani? But how
Yes.
do we now move away from complacency, because that's what we are right now.
Yes.
We are complacent
yes.
because of the system. How do we now come to the resolution? How do we figure out or do what we have to do? And we're not talking on an individual level, but we're talking on a
Right.
communal level. How do we now do that? Because that's the most important thing, you know. How do we get
Naturally.
away from
Let,
this?
let me address that. Let me address that because I think what happened now, we have to be real and overstand. Say the neo-colonial governments that are in power on the islands, them and in many of the African countries, they are in power. They are actually the
Natural.
real. They can
Them
walk
are
into
rule the
parliament.
empire at the moment.
Yes, they can walk into parliament and pass any law to change society in any direction it can be. So, you know what I'm saying? That process is also open to us, you know. We can also create a mass movement, mobilize our people and say, listen, we can take this power and we can change the society to reflect our vision of the world, our worldview, what we want for our children. We need to, you know, because I think our people have been so timid and so, I think, afraid to go after the big things. Because when you say to the people themselves, listen, we need to transform our whole elementary school system. We need to overturn it, the whole thing. We need to Africanize it. We need to add the school, the whole curriculum and even the aesthetic of those basic schools
Bro,
and
yeah, man,
elementary
because the
schools.
school them look like a prison.
Exactly. We need to just
School them look like a prison, brother.
the
We
first
design.
one to win.
It's not for learning.
And a doctor, right? That she
Yes.
used to say when she walking at the schools, because sometimes she would do school visits and so. She said she got so depressed walking into the schools. Because
Thank you, my
all of the
brother.
school them are grey. And just the color tones, brother, in the school. You understand
yes.
what I deal with? Yeah,
So
man. But
even,
yeah.
yeah, even go on Okavango, because we don't want everybody
No,
to get
finish
that.
what you say. Finish what you say, brother Dylan, because we make us
Yeah,
say.
so what we're saying is that you see the levels where the thing needs to take, but the opposition is going to say, where the costs, how are we going to pay for all of this? How is it going to be possible? But guess what? When they want money to do anything else, you know, they
Them
find
find
it,
it.
you know. Yes. So why we don't them mathematician them and the scientists they can find how we're going to do this?
The
same
economics.
school,
The economics.
But
the same ministry of, yes, King.
you have seen
Cut out.
we over the last 10 years, you've been a part of the reparations movement in the UK and been running several
Yaga.
marches, but the turnout from the community is not as what we expected. So that is the mindset that we have to deal with. And we can see the struggle that exists among our people in supporting the cause, in supporting the real issues that affect us. What are some of the solutions?
Yaga, hold on there. Yaga, start this now, and I'm going to jump right in the interview.
I record. I put it on because I wanted to record just the
Yeah, I
natural
know.
flow.
So I'm saying end this and let's start the interview.
All right.
I'll start it from top. Yeah.
Yes,
Go on,
so
Ras.
this has been another episode of the Perfect Balance TrodClass. And to end this discussion, I want to leave us with a quote from our sister Angela Davis. She says, I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I cannot accept. And we leave you with that profound statement.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Give thanks. Give.
Yo, Bingy. Yo, Okapanga. Yo, you know Rasta. You know the whole team, you know, man. Listen me, Yaga.